I own a small condo in Orlando. I bought it while working for the Mouse, and my friend Ben lived there with me. Ben's a cook and is rarely home. He has a large room that is accessible from outside and attached bathroom that locks to the rest of the house. Well, I got a different job, got engaged to my partner, and moved a few hours away. We kept the condo as a place to stay when we visit the parks. And we agreed with Ben that he could continue living there as long as he paid all the utilities and maintained the place. Our friends use it too. They pay a bit for utilities, are told don't bother Ben, and clean before they leave. Between everyone who uses it, we've gotten stuff donated, so it's now a fully stocked vacation home. My immediate family and I have a bad history, but we mended. They've used the condo 3//4x a year. On Monday, Ben got woken up at 2 a.m. by hammering on the main door. My aunt and uncle, their kids, and their grandkids were all there waiting to be let in. I haven't spoken to these people in years after they decided I was the devil's spawn for being gay. They demanded that the caretaker give them the keys. Ben called me. I told him to give them my number, then shut and lock the door and not let them in. My aunt was insistent that my condo was actually owned by my family. It was the family vacation home. And it was against the law to not let them in. I told her no, it was mine, I own it and I let friends and family use it, but I choose who stays there. There was a lot of back and forth and some petty name calling. She said they were here for a week, where were they supposed to go, and I said I don't care. Meanwhile, my partner reported that Ben texted them saying my uncle was attempting to kick in the door. I said tell him to call the police. She hung up on me and Ben said they left. In the morning, I got a phone call from my mom trying to convince me to let them stay. We had an argument during which she admitted that she didn't tell people that I owned the property, because she didn't want the rest of our family to know they were in contact with me again. I told her if that's how she wants our relationship to be, then she's no longer welcome. I checked in with Ben and he's okay. Today my aunt sent several texts asking to stay at the house because they hadn't accounted having to pay for a hotel, and they had planned to just buy groceries and use the kitchen. I told her no. She said they were about to be out on the street with their luggage. She called me cruel and heartless and that I was ruining Disney for the kids. That made me hesitate, probably because I worked for the Mouse. I know that particular family line has very little money. Yet I find it hard to believe someone would plan a whole vacation without accounting extra funds for it. But the kids are really young. I'm so furious over the homophobia that it feels like a point of pride to deny them access. My boyfriend and I have been together about a year, and when our city implemented lockdown for the virus, he decided to quarantine with me at my apartment as I live alone and have a nicer apartment, and he has several roommates. Mostly it has been going well, and thankfully we both still have jobs. Except in the first few weeks I started noticing that the bathroom floor was suddenly always wet around the toilet. The sink is across the room from the toilet, so it's unlikely to be from the sink. At first I thought it might be water, but soon realized that it was definitely pee. I asked boyfriend about it nicely, and he apologized and said sometimes he has bad aim. I asked him to try a little harder and he said sure. The floor continued to be frequently spattered with piss. And a few weeks later I confronted him about it again because I think it's pretty gross to step in his pee several times a week. And it seems like an easy thing to fix. If he misses the toilet, I think the very least he could do is make sure to wipe it up with toilet paper or a Clorox wipe. The cleaning supplies even live in a cabinet directly over the toilet. He said sure, sorry, he would try to remember to do that. Another week has passed, and while maybe he's doing this sometimes, I've continued to step in splatters of his pee and wipe it off the floor and clean the floor several times a week. I thought about asking him to just pee into the bathtub or something instead, because I don't understand how you can pee on the floor by accident so often and not notice and not clean it up. Last night I got up to use the bathroom in the middle of the night and absolutely stepped in piss, for the 12,312,301,298th time. I had it and I didn't want to pick a fight or ask him again since it seems clear he can't or won't change. So I got one of my dog's wee pads from when he was a puppy, he is well trained now, and cut it up a bit and taped it down to make a sort of skirt or mat around the floor near the toilet to at least absorb the piss. Boyfriend saw this morning and is furious with me, saying that I'm calling him a dog, comparing him to an animal, etc. Honestly, I was not thinking that at all. I just was trying to be resourceful and solve the problem for myself since I don't like piss on my bathroom floor, and don't like stepping in it. I didn't feel like arguing about it anymore. And putting a material specifically meant to absorb pee around the area he keeps peeing on by accident seemed like a practical solution. I have 3 siblings between the ages of 10 and 18. I'm the oldest, fourth at 25. Every year on every single one of our birthday, we're expected to celebrate my mom as well. We've done it since we were little. It was taught to me as giving thanks for carrying plus giving birth to us. Which I'm all for. I am grateful as we wouldn't be here without her. The issue is though, it becomes less of our birthday and more so an anniversary for the day our mom gave birth. Every year on our birthday our mom gets gifts too. As we got older, we're now expected to get her monetary gifts, and not cards, or homemade stuff. Just recently was my birthday and I was gifted some much needed clothes and dishware for my new apartment. My dad however got my mom a new MacBook. My siblings all got her gifts too. My youngest brother isn't expected to give much. But my 16-year-old sister and 18-year-old second brother work, so they're expected to give gifts too. My sister pulled me aside before my birthday and said she was sorry she couldn't get me much. She got me a sweater, I love it. And that she wanted to get me more, but our mom was pressuring her to get a certain necklace for our mom. Apparently my mom had been dropping hints for months and my sister was worried our mom would be upset and feel underappreciated if she didn't get it. I asked how much it was, and my sister said it was $300. I honestly lost it on our mom and chewed into her later that afternoon when my mom opened her gifts after me. I think she's ridiculous for even wanting my sister to spend so much on a gift. Mom started crying and my dad kicked me out. Mom won't answer calls, but my aunt, mom's sister, called and said I was a POS for not respecting my mother and that I'm a selfish, narcissist child for being jealous of the gifts mom got. I thought I was in the right, but now I don't know. It's been over 2 weeks and mom won't answer my calls. She's been posting on Facebook inspiration quotes about letting go of the toxicity in your life, how blood doesn't equal family, and how hard it is to be a mother. Several family members, aunt, grandma, uncle, and 2 of my cousins, are replying to the posts and are very obviously directing vague comments at me about being a horrible daughter. What to think now because of how many people are on her side. I am a 33 years old female, and I have had fertility issues for the past couple of years with my husband. He's 35. We went through with consultations, and while we had very promising results for treatment, the cost did give us pause. It wasn't that we couldn't afford it, we just weren't at the point yet where we were willing to pay. I discussed it with my husband and we were both fine with the idea of adopting. My cousin Tiffany, woman 25 years old, is adopted and she supported our choice in looking into it. However, this was a couple of years back, and during that time Tiffany was reunited with her birth parents, and she's been acting pretty hurtful to my aunt and uncle since then. She keeps making posts about how happy she is to know where she comes from and is happy about being reunited with her real family. She even talked about having her birth father walk her down the aisle as a chance to make up for lost time. Obviously my uncle was very hurt about this, but when he voiced it Tiffany got defensive. She called my uncle selfish, how this was about her and that he knew what he signed up for when raising someone else's kid. Before the pandemic Tiffany moved closer to where her bio mother lived so they could make up for lost time. And Tiffany kept making post after post about all the fun she was having meeting relatives. And how she called / video chatted with each of her bio parents multiple times a week. Meanwhile, she barely texted back my uncle and aunt once a month. I could tell how heartbroken my aunt and uncle were, but tried to give Tiffany her space, and the few times they said anything she accused them of being selfish and unsupportive. I think the biggest thing that broke them was when Tiffany promised to come by for my aunt's birthday and was even given the money to travel to them, but then never showed up. She called literally the day before to say that her bio mom had an emergency so she wasn't going to make it, but didn't give back the money. I am completely disgusted by Tiffany's behavior, and while I haven't completely ruled out adoption entirely, I did want to give medical assisted conception a try. My husband supported this and we are now currently expecting. After we made our announcement, Tiffany messaged me asking why I would spend thousands on creating a child when I could help one who already existed. I tried to play it off, but Tiffany kept pressing and calling me a bad person when there are so many children who desperately need a home, and overpopulation. It got to the point where she was pissing me off, and I just came clean and said that her behavior towards the people who loved and raised her was the reason. Tiffany got really upset, but I didn't care. However, her parents are now starting to say that I was wrong.